up with wives. Like, do you know that he claimed that he introduced Melania to Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy one. I suspect, Melania conspiracy time. I suspect that Melania has been whispering in Trump's ear. I think she was trafficked before. Either bad trafficked or good.
I said possibility, but it's a real possibility, is that Melania was introduced to Donald by Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe that's why we have this fierce resistance to find out what's going on.
No, it's f***ing hilarious. I got it. But
by this point, the Trump-Epstein saga had transformed from a slow drip of scandal into a full-blown media hurricane. Colbert had meticulously laid out the evidence. Photos of Trump and Epstein laughing together at the 1993 wedding, jet logs documenting multiple private flights, secret meetings with Ghislaine Maxwell, and his name flagged in the infamous Epstein files. Each denial from Trump,
She's without a doubt the hottest first lady of all time. Kennedy's wife was a good-looking chick, right?
She was a very beautiful woman, but this lady's hot.
Yeah. How old is she? She's a lot younger than Trump.
She's probably in her 40s.
40s. I mean, my guess is she doesn't want to be back in the White House again.
No.
Barely knew him, only made the contradictions sharper. Colbert's slideshow of decades-old moments told a story that Trump could no longer control. Smiling side by side at weddings and parties wasn't the behavior of casual acquaintances. That was the behavior of old friends who shared private time, private planes, and
I suspect that she's been whispering in his ear about what that really is and does and all that things, because she's been kind of like acting from the back a lot, but when you really dig into what Melania's been doing, she's very, very active in anti-trafficking and in protecting trafficked victims.
Private secrets. And just when the Epstein scandal seemed to reach a fever pitch, another twist hit, CBS canceling Colbert's show. The timing could not have been more suspicious, coinciding with Paramount's $8 billion Skydance merger. Colbert didn't just shrug it off. He turned the corporate decision into a pointed satire.
Maybe he was involved in the trafficking a little bit because of the things that he bought and the people that he knew and like Roy Cohn connections, but I don't even know about that. But regardless, he knows the game. And then he marries Melania. And then more and more, like, he was in charge when Epstein went down. He was the only one that when Epstein got arrested and they were going around asking for dirt, he was like, I'll fully fucking cooperate. Fuck that guy. I'll tell you everything.
Joking that the $16 million payout was essentially a big fat bribe. Behind the humor, the message was clear. Media suppression and political pressure were always lurking in the background. And the president's allies weren't shy about using money to silence dissenting voices. The stage was set and Trump's fingerprints were all over it. But Colbert didn't stop at corporate interference. He widened the lens to the president's ongoing war on the media.
Russia, it's weaponizing Melania's past. I don't know if you know this, but on Russian TV, they frequently show Melania nude in order to mock Donald Trump. So they show all these photos of Melania. By the way, Melania's previously made posts about how proud she is of her nudes, but did you know that after Donald Trump and Melania met, she got what was called an Einstein visa?
That's the
NBC, ABC, CBS. No network was safe. Trump attacked ratings, management, and credibility, calling networks arms of the Democrat Party, and even suggesting their licenses be revoked. Colbert framed this as more than just a ratings complaint. It was a calculated attempt to turn news outlets into public enemies, a tactic that distracts, intimidates, and amplifies outrage among his base. Late-night hosts became unwilling participants in a theater where the line—
Did you know that after Donald Trump and Melania met, she got what was called an Einstein visa? She was treated like a genius, an exceptional achievement visa that gave her a fast track to become a United States citizen. She then used her citizenship to bring in her family members, a policy that Donald Trump is blocking, and that Donald Trump would send people like that, I guess if their skin color was brown or black, to concentration camps in the Everglades called Alligator Alcatraz.
Between comedy and real political drama blurred. Then there were the lies, the absurdities, and the numbers that made reality itself feel elastic. Trump's promises to cut drug prices were mathematically impossible, ranging from percentages so large they looped into the thousands, and then somehow back to negative numbers. Colbert's comedy turned these ridiculous claims into
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorite.
But you're an immigrant.
Yes.
Do you ever think he's gone too far?
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers. I had visa. I travel every few months back to the country, to Slovenia, to stamp the visa. I came back. I applied for the green card. I applied for the citizenship later on after many years of green card. So I went by system. I went by the law. And you should do that. You should not just say, okay, let me just stay here. And whatever happened.
to a kind of auction, showing the audience that Trump's solutions were more theater than policy. A 100% reduction would make drugs free. A 1,000% cut would force pharmaceutical companies to pay patients. The math was nonsense, but the political impact was real. Broken promises and performative policy became a hallmark of the administration.
And as Trump, when he married her, and then they have Barron, and he's watching his son grow up, so you have this young child, and you have this wife telling you about her previous life, probably, and just whispering in your ear that, like, this could be your legacy, this could be your legacy, this could be your legacy, right?
And while the country tried to process the scandal, Trump himself seemed untethered from reality, pushing absurd distractions like Obamagate, posting AI videos of a fake Obama arrest set to YMCA, and doubling down on his narrative while disregarding basic truth.
He described it as locker room talk. To you, I mean, you sort of alluded to that as well. Is that what it is to you, just locker room talk?
Yeah, it's kind of two teenage boys. Actually, they should behave better, right?
He was 59.
Correct. And sometimes I said, I have two boys at home. I have my young son and I have my husband. So, but I know how some men talk, and that's how I saw it, yeah.
Colbert highlighted the extreme absurdity. If anyone else posted videos depicting the violent arrest of a former president, they'd be in legal jeopardy immediately. But Trump leveraged these stunts to inflame his base, control the conversation, and bury scrutiny.
Well, I needed to put mine anyway, because if you want to become an American citizen, you need to put the birth certificate.
Right.
I have a birth certificate from Slovenia. And do you want to see President Obama birth certificate or not?
I've seen it.
It's not the birth certificate.
Well, it's a certificate of live birth,
Right,
which they
but-
give. But Melania, if he insists on what he's saying, then no one in Hawaii can ever run for president, because they all get the same live birth certificate.
If President Obama just show it, and because
But he
it's not only Donald who wants to see it, it's American people who voted for him and who didn't vote for him. They want to see that.
But it's on display in Chicago. We've seen it on the internet. We've seen it. It's not the same as yours, but it's a certificate of live birth.
Well, it's not him that is bringing up, it's the media all the time.
From the Epstein files. Then there was Scotland, a place where Trump's familial roots drew out colorful, almost cartoonish commentary from locals. Insults and witty Scottish jabs flew, but beneath the humor was a clear pattern. Wherever Trump went, rules were optional, optics were negotiable, and self-interest always came first. Golf courses, kilts, cash stashes, everything became fodder.
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
For what you want in life.
That your word is your bond.
That you do what you say you're going to do.
Keep your promise.
That you treat people
That you treat people
with dignity and respect, and because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
And of course, Melania would plagiarize Michelle Obama's speech at the Democratic National Convention. Literally, Melania's speech during Trump's first Republican National Convention was literally copy and pasted of Michelle Obama's
For satire,
speech.
but also a reflection of his consistent playbook: power as personal gain, spectacle as policy. Finally, the scoreboard told the real story. Job growth was stagnating, the worst 3 months since the pandemic, while Trump focused on distractions, personal branding, and theatrics abroad. Colbert turned this into comedy about sourdough, growing around his ankles. But the deeper message was sober. The nation's health and economic reality were under strain, and the
Melania
pattern
has been instrumental in his sort of shift to being the only guy willing to go after those traffickers.
Out of all the information that's getting disclosed, supposedly this administration,
The problem is there are a lot of questions, there's just no answers forthcoming. And so now we have the blow up of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Of course, it's all hidden. He wants to cover it up. He's mad. And one of the key figures in the Trump-Epstein story is a female by the name of Celinda Middlefort.
As the spotlight on Melania intensified, so did the scrutiny of her past. Every photograph, every public appearance from before the White House became a story. Russian media weaponized her history, social media amplified it, and Trump's distractions could barely keep up. Rogan and commentators painted a picture of a first lady whose influence was quiet but precise, shaping narratives, controlling optics, and steering her husband while the world focused elsewhere. Even Melania's early interactions with Trump were framed as strategic. Stories about their first meeting, her choice of which number to give him, her careful observation of his reactions, were less about romance and more about reading a man in power. Critics argued it wasn't just about selecting a partner. It was about establishing a hierarchy, testing control, and understanding leverage from the very start. By the time she entered the White House, she had mastered the art of influence. Subtle, private, and yet highly effective. But her influence wasn't confined to whispers. Rogan highlighted the so-called locker room talk scandal, where Melania's public defense of Trump revealed how deeply she shaped the narrative. What seemed like loyalty to some was strategic image management to others. Every word, every gesture was curated. Her past experiences, combined with an understanding of media cycles, allowed her to position herself as both protector and amplifier of her husband's message. Then came the Stormy Daniels controversy. Headlines dominated homes across America, painting Trump as a man enmeshed in scandal. Yet Melania's primary concern reportedly wasn't the affair. It was Vogue's choice to feature Daniels. Because optics, not the reality, mattered most. By controlling which stories entered the spotlight, she managed both her image and the household narrative. Critics saw a pattern. Melania wasn't just the first lady. She was a strategic operator in a high-stakes media game. And then, the plagiarism scandal amplified the irony. During Trump's first Republican National Convention, Melania delivered a speech almost word-for-word identical to Michelle Obama's 2008 address. The original speech celebrated dignity, respect, and ambition, values Trump had repeatedly criticized in his political opponents. For critics, it wasn't merely lazy speechwriting. It was a deliberate signal. Narrative can be borrowed, repurposed, and weaponized. Melania's copycat speech demonstrated how easily messages could be redirected, reshaped, and reframed, even from her husband's most prominent critics. At the same time, Trump's distraction tactics escalated. As Epstein's shadow grew, Trump reached for familiar tools, shouting at Obama, calling out alleged treason, and making impossible promises. His pledge to lower drug prices by 1,000% or 1 to 500% defied arithmetic, but served its purpose. Headlines louder than Epstein could command. Every over-the-top statement, every chaotic claim, was designed to drown out the one narrative Trump could not control: his association with Epstein and the resurfacing of old photos, videos, and guest lists. Even old alliances resurfaced. Archival footage placed Epstein at Trump's wedding to Marla Maples, at Victoria's Secret shows, and mingling within the same social circles. The repetition of the same faces blurred the line between Trump's story and Epstein's. Every resurfaced image demanded a response: either own the association or bury it beneath louder, more distracting headlines. Trump repeatedly chose distraction. Meanwhile, allies like Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth added another layer of chaos. Obsessed with leaks, he imposed polygraph tests across the Pentagon and devised encrypted channels to control information flow. Hegseth's overreach transformed a security department into a stage for paranoia and self-serving narratives. Under his brief tenure, hypocrisy became official policy, and national security risked compromise. His behavior mirrored the broader administration pattern, the past and private agendas spilling into public chaos. Through it all, Melania remained the constant pivot. Rogan suggested she had steered Trump toward confronting trafficking issues more aggressively, a rare public stance amid a storm of media scrutiny. Yet the Epstein files remained an opaque vault, full of questions with no clear answers. Names like Celinda Middleart appeared repeatedly, highlighting how much of the story remained hidden. Publicly, Trump's distractions dominated. Privately, Melania's whispers shaped what was emphasized, what was deflected, and what remained concealed. By the end of this segment, a pattern emerged. The story wasn't just about past scandals. It was about power, control, and influence. Melania had become more than a figurehead. She was a strategist in a high-stakes game. Trump Sou's distractions were increasingly desperate, allies erratic, and questions unrelenting. From the shadows